Hello folks, Alex here. This is Alex Unabridged, and these are my top 10 digital and audiobooks I want to read as part of the Read What You Own challenge. So welcome back to the channel if that is the case. So yes, I've done my top 10 physical books, but I have got quite a lot of audiobooks and ebooks on my unread lists in my digital libraries. In fact, I've probably got more combined of those. Yes, I've definitely got more combined of those than I have of physical books. So I'm going to run through the 10 that I would most like to get read as part of the Read What You Own challenge. So I've got 6 ebooks and 4 audiobooks on this list. These are not in a ranked order, these are just the 10, most desirable ones for me to read over the coming months. So let's dive straight in then. So first up, I have got an ebook which is Come Closer by Sara, Gran. This was one of these 99p Kindle deals a while back, which I'd held off buying for quite some time anyway, because it had always been quite expensive. And then it finally popped up on a cheap deal, and so I bought it, yet I've not had a chance to read it yet. And this has been on my radar for quite some time now. It's a nice short one. This follows Amanda, I think the protagonist's name is, or the main character's name, and she's successful, happily married, but she finds her life going off kilter by degrees, and starts behaving strangely, kind of blacking out and not knowing what she's done. She has strange dreams, strange voices in her head telling her to do things that are very out of character, frightening sort of things, strange and frightening things, and she struggles to wrest back control of her own life. So this is a story of a potential possession, but from the perspective of the person being possessed, potentially. This one sounds really interesting, like it's a really interesting take on the kind of possession novel or novella, and yeah, I just hear great reports of it. So as I say, that one is quite high up on the priority list. Next up then, we've got The Mountain Under the Sea by Nayler. So shifting over from horror to science fiction, and this is one where I bought it mainly because I liked the cover. Or at least the cover image, because obviously this is an ebook, so I don't own the actual cover, but I like the artwork. And this is about humanity's discovery of an intelligent life form in an octopus species that has its own language and culture, and this discovery sparks a kind of a high stakes global competition to dominate the future. The octopuses hold the key to unprecedented breakthroughs in extra-human intelligence. There are vast fortunes to be made by whoever can take advantage of the octopuses' advancements. So I think we follow a scientist in this who's struggling to communicate with the octopuses, and also fighting against other forces who perhaps have more nefarious intentions, who want to seize the octopuses for themselves and their own ends. But no one's asked the octopuses what they think and what they might do about all of this. So it sounds, there's a darkness, I think, hopefully there. It sounds like an interesting premise. That's the one that got me. And as I say, I think it was the cover art that really kind of attracted me to this. So as I say, I've had this for quite a while. Really want to get to this one. Okay, back into the horror then with Hex by Olde Heuvelt, who is a Dutch author, I believe. So this is a translated text, and this is an ebook as well. This is set in a small kind of picturesque Hudson Valley town, which is haunted by an entity called the Black Rock Witch, who's a 17th century woman whose eyes and mouth are sewn shut. And she wanders the streets, enters homes at will, stands at children's beds for nights on end. You know, she sounds pretty creepy, but the town's kind of got used to her. And the elders of the town have kind of basically quarantined it using high-tech surveillance to prevent the curse that's on the town from spreading knowledge of it. But the teenagers of the town are frustrated with being this sort of kept locked down, and they decide to break the rules and go viral with the haunting, with the Black Rock Witch. But in doing so, they send the town spiralling into darkness. I just think this one sounds like a really interesting premise. I think it sounds creepy as hell. I mean, this entity with her eyes and mouth sewn shut that just stands at the end of children's beds for like hours on end. Yeah, no thanks. So I'm hoping that this will be a good creep out one. And I'm hearing mixed reports of this, but this one just, I've had this on my list for years, I think, a couple of years. And yeah, I'm very intrigued by that one. Okay, staying in the horror and the intrigue, creepy intrigue. The next one is Queen of Teeth by Hailey Piper, which again, I think I got this back in the summer, hoping to read it for sort of my LGBTQIA+ reading, because Hailey Piper is a trans author. And it's been on my TBRs several times, but I've never managed to get to it because I'm over ambitious with my TBRs, which is something I'm hoping to fix next year. You'll be glad to know. So this one is an absolute read the damn thing for my my Read What You Own challenge. So this, I think this won the Bram Stoker Award. I forget which year. But yes, this is about a woman called Yaya Betancourt who discovers teeth between her thighs, and ends up being hunted by one of the most powerful corporations in America. She assumes that this condition that she's developed, these teeth, are a rare side effect of a genetic condition that was caused by a pharmaceutical company decades ago when she and several thousand others were still in the womb. But she comes to realise that these secondary teeth might be a new experiment for which she's the most advanced test tube, and further things develop with these teeth. In fact, the condition sprouts horns, tentacles and a mind of its own. So she ends up on the run and transforming, and she might be either the pharmaceuticals company's greatest success or the deadliest failure that science has ever created. Yeah, this one, just the idea of this just creeps me the hell out. But I think it sounds fascinating. So there's a morbid curiosity with this for me, a creepy curiosity that I want to read this. And as I say, I want to read more stuff by LGBTQ+ authors. This one's been on my list for ages and needs to get read. Okay, moving away from the horror and onto something potentially a little cozy, maybe a little sort of cozier fantasy stuff. I'm not sure, but staying with the LGBTQ though, and that's with Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune, where I think one of the taglines is, "The tea is hot, the scones are fresh, and the dead are just passing through." So for this one, when a reaper comes to collect Wallace for his own funeral, Wallace begins to suspect that he might be dead. And when Hugo, the owner of a peculiar tea shop, promises to help him cross over, Wallace decides that he's definitely dead. But even in death, he's not ready to abandon the life that he's barely lived. So when Wallace is given 1 week to cross over, he sets about living a lifetime in 7 days. So this sounds like it's meant to be quite an uplifting story about sort of life and death and dealing with death. I think it's meant to be quite funny but quite poignant at the same time. It sounds like it's quite a kind hug of a book. but you know, with some some emotion in it, I think. TJ Klune, there's quite a lot of his stuff that's on my list for reading, but this is the only one that I own already. So yes, this one will be a nice, hopefully cozy one when I want to get away from some of the horror. Okay then, next up, back into the horror with From Below by Darcy Coates. I saw Nick from another booktube channel talk about this a while ago and immediately went to check it on Amazon, and found that it was in a daily deal, so bought it immediately, but have not had a chance to read it yet. And this is playing into my intrigue with horror set in watery environments, the ocean, particularly deep ocean, because this is the story of a diving crew that get permission to go and explore a wreck of a ship, the SS Arcadia, which vanished without a trace during a routine voyage years ago. None of the crew could be found. There was a garbled emergency message broadcast, and so 60 years on, the wreck's been discovered, and as I say, there's a dive crew that have permission to go down. But with these things, there's always a big but, isn't there? Something dark and hungry is still down there watching from below, and so this dive team not only have to deal with the claustrophobia and limits of diving deep in the ocean, like limited oxygen and things like that, they were also going to have to fight their way free of some sort of unspeakable horror which is now desperate to claim them. Deep ocean, claustrophobic, there's things down there that we know about that scare the hell out of me, and then there's obviously things down there that we don't know about which are probably going to scare the hell out of me. There's something about my fear of deep ocean and my dislike of deep ocean that I think I'm intrigued by with horror fiction, most definitely, because I think it's a way for me to kind of process it. It just sounds like it's going to be quite a good scary one, that one, so but enjoyable hopefully at the same time. So that one should be good fun. Okay then, and then for something completely different, again another one which should be quite a nice one to read, I think, and that is Nevermoor by Jessica Townsend, which is a middle grade YA sort of fantasy. And this follows Morrigan Crow. This is part of a series, the first book in a series. Follows Morrigan Crow, who is cursed and doomed to die at midnight on her 11th birthday. But as she awaits her fate, a strange and remarkable man turns up and whisks her away to the safety of a secret magical city called Nevermoor. But then she has to enter a trial, basically, to gain her place in this world. She has to go through these trials with hundreds of other children, all of which have extraordinary talents that set them apart. A talent that Morgan insists that she doesn't have, and she'll need to find a way to pass these tests to stay in the city, otherwise she'll have to leave and confront her deadly fate. So yeah, I've heard this one talked about ages ago, I think before I even started doing my own videos. I think it was Gavin over at Gavin Reads It All, formerly How to Train Your Gavin, when he used to do a lot more middle grade stuff, a lot more videos on middle grade type stuff, and I really like the sound of this, so it went on the list. And again, it was this is an audio book, and this was a 2-for-1 sale where I just saw it and went, oh well, I wanted to try that, so I grabbed it. And as I say, I've had this for a little while, I think, and so this one will be a nice one to sit and listen to in the dark winter months, basically, of an evening. I think this one should be quite a nice one to curl up to on the sofa. Okie dokes, another audiobook then. We're into the audiobooks now. And that is with 14 by Peter Clines. I bought this ages ago, again in a 2-for-1 sale, And I bought this knowing nothing about it, nothing about Peter Clines. I've never heard anybody else talk about this. I don't think I've read many reviews, but it's narrated by Ray Porter, and that's why I bought it, because Ray Porter narrated Project Hail Mary, which I loved, and part of my extreme enjoyment of that and that experience, that I had such an amazing experience with that, was Ray Porter's narration. So I want to try some more Ray Porter. So this one I think follows a fella called Nate, who's moved into a new apartment. He hates his job, he's got no money in the bank, no girlfriend, no plans for the future. But you know, he's got, you know, there's some odd things about this new apartment, but it's livable. You know, it's you know, the property managers are all friendly. The rent's low, and so the little things that he's not sure about don't really nag him too much. And it's not until he meets some of his neighbours and he finds that there's something strange in every apartment. Every room in these Los Angeles apartments in this old brownstone has a mystery or two that stretches back for hundreds of years. Some of them are in plain sight, some of them are behind locked doors. And together, all of these mysteries combined could spell the end of Nate and his friends, or the end of everything, the blurb says. So this is, I think, sort of a little bit kind of sci-fi, maybe a little bit fantasy, certainly a little bit horror. I'm not entirely sure. I have no expectations for it at all, other than I expect the narration to be bloody good. And if the narration is anywhere close to Project Hail Mary standards with Ray Porter, then you know, I have hopes for it to be an enjoyable experience. So we'll give that one a go. Then next up we've got Wise Children by Angela Carter, and this is one that I know I'm going to get to, certainly within the first quarter of 2024, because I will be definitely reading some Angela Carter for a project that I've got coming up. And yeah, Wise Children is a richly comic tale surrounding the fortunes of a couple of theatrical families, and kind of looks at their sort of, it's a family saga, I think, really, is kind of how the blurb sort of makes it read. Sounds like it's got a wild and colourful cast, that its, you know, story kind of probably veers off in various different directions, that its narrative goes between past and present. It's, you know, full of mysteries, feuds, histories, family histories, you know, sort of humour. As I say, it's sounds like it's, you know, sort of classic Carter, really. It says it plays on Carter's admiration of Shakespeare and the surreal, that it's full of magic realism, elements of the carnivalesque. After reading both The Bloody Chamber and Nights at the Circus this year, I am really, really excited to get back into some more Carter. Because both of those were phenomenal, but Nights of the Circus in particular was just stunning. So if this is, you know, this sounds like it's got the elements that I loved from that in it, and Carter's writing is just incredible anyway. So, and it's read by Tracy Ullman, so it should be a good thing to listen to. So yeah, that's one I am really excited to dive into. And then finally, the last audiobook on this list is one that I had earmarked to read or to listen to when it came out in September, and it's been on my wish list, my TBR wish list, Pile of Possibilities, every month since, and I've still not flipping got to it. And that is, of course, Holly by Stephen King. I love Holly Gibney. You know, I love King. And this is his new one, of course. So this is Holly on her own, and up against a pair of depraved and brilliantly disguised adversaries, apparently. So when we meet Holly in this, I think she's on leave. Partner Pete has got COVID. She's meant to be taking some time off for personal reasons, but she gets a call from a woman about this woman's missing daughter, and there's something in the woman's kind of desperate pleas for help that Holly can't turn her down, and so she goes off to investigate this disappearance, and has to kind of use all of her formidable talents to outthink and outmaneuver the twisted villains in this one. It sounds like it's got that kind of crossover. I'd expect it to be crime based, with it being a Holly Gibney story, but it's King, so he knows how to write some dark stuff. So as I say, I've wanted to get to this since it came out, and I just haven't been able to because the last few months have been ridiculous. So this one is absolutely gonna get read early in the new year. So that is it. That's my 6 ebooks and 4 audiobooks in my top 10. Plenty of horror in there and a few other bits and pieces too. So yes, I will hope to get to all of these in the first few months of 2024, because we're nearly there. So if you've read any of the books that I've talked about today, do let me know what you thought of them in the comments below. No spoilers, of course, though, please. If you are interested in reading any of the books that I've talked about, then let me know that as well. I'm always up for buddy reads, by the way, if anybody fancies a buddy read. Just let me know in the comments, or feel free to drop me an email. So thank you very much for watching today, folks. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please do consider giving me a like and subscribing for more content coming very soon. But from me, for now, that's ta-ra.